I'm thinking, if I'm them, you got a truck?
Yeah.
You got a truck and a signature dish?
Yeah.
Do you guys have original recipes?
Yes.
What is the recipe of the day on your Facebook thing? See, social media is social. It's not about selling, but it is about building the awareness of, to use Emil's phrase, dinners for dad, whatever you call it, blah, blah, blah. But my point is, guys, it's not the 20th century. It was so easy back then. The Yellow Pages guy would show up. Your catering company was in the Yellow Pages. Now, everyone is addicted to the phone. If you're not on the phone, you're irrelevant.
So, I mean, from a very young age, and I'm sure Mike will mirror this, we've loved food. We've loved cooking. The feeling of pouring your heart and soul into something and just watching someone enjoy it, you know, top to bottom, is an amazing way to express yourself. So, growing up, that's how I felt. You know, of course, I followed the normal track. I did a year at university, and I decided it wasn't for me, and I dove headfirst into cooking. Mike and I started on the same day at a restaurant in Toronto, so we became fast friends. We were both the new guy, and I think it was about 3.5 years later, sometime in 2008, he came to me and he said, "My cousin's boss is having a birthday party. He wants to have a party. Can you do it?" And we thought to ourselves, well, yeah, we've been doing catering for this restaurant for 3.5 years. We could do this. We were young, we were dumb. We had no idea that there was more to it than just showing up and cooking the food. So all of a sudden we're thrown into figuring out staffing, figuring out rentals, alcohol, permits, garbage removal, all these wonderful things. But I'll never forget, I think it was end of the night, the party had gone off without a hitch, and Mike and I had both run to the basement at Derek's house, that's the gentleman whose birthday it was. I was grabbing a cheese platter, he was grabbing some desserts, and we just thought, wow, like we crushed this. We high-fived, and I think we both intrinsically knew we had just given birth to something. This was going to be our baby. And the feeling of being able to do it from top to bottom by ourselves with our own guidance is incomparable. So from there, we talked my mom and dad into generously letting us use their kitchen at their house for about the first couple of years as we started building. And here we are 10 years, 11 years later. We've done some huge events. We've got a staff. We've got a big kitchen. But all of that went upside down in March. So here we are.
Okay. Let's get right to it, Matt and Mike. What would you say is the biggest problem or the biggest problems that you're trying to solve now within the next few months for No Small Feast?
I would say it's sort of two-pronged. The major problem, obviously, is people just can't have events. And while we can do little gatherings of 5 or 10 people in their homes, that's not even going to pay our bills. We need those big weddings, corporate events. Those I don't think are coming back for a while. So our pivot is we're going to try and get into the market of a subscription-based model where people are buying really good, wholesome, chef-driven frozen meals for that convenience factor. And a lot of that kind of came out of Mike and I. We both have kids, wives who are still working full-time. We're trying to get into work as much as we can. So as much as we love cooking at home, we need that convenience. Anytime we make anything that can be frozen, I make a big batch of it so that at least once or twice a week I'm just pulling something out of my freezer, but I know it's wholesome, it's made with local ingredients, it's made with care, and we wanted to extend that out to everybody else. I don't see a lot of comparables in the market, so our biggest problem right now is not so much making the food, it's developing the brand and getting out there so people know about us. So we need maximum exposure.
Excellent. Mike, what would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I'm going to mirror everything Matt said there. I think our biggest challenge we're going to be facing will be exposure. You know, we don't have a storefront, we're not a restaurant. We're a fairly well-known catering company, and I think that this was born out of like holy crow. You know, we have 2 young kids at home during a very stressful time. You know, I struggled throughout this whole situation. I still am. And one thing that you just don't have the time to worry about is, you know, making a gourmet meal. We all need to eat healthy, and with a baby running around and, you know, all this other stuff happening, you know, you still want to feel like you're eating well. And that's what this was born out of. But like Matt said, I think our biggest issue is the exposure, and that's what I'm really, you know, concerned about, to be honest. Is how do we get it out there?
Okay, thank you. Erica, I'm going to pass it over to you. And what we're going to do now, gentlemen, is we are going to hear from each of the experts based on the problems that you just posed in a short, concentrated period of time before we move on to next steps.
So, Jamie, I'm going to start off with a question for the gentleman, which is, I, as a mother and with 2 kids and running a business that is focused on mothers, you're right. There is definitely a need for help for mothers who are overextended, and I guess in some cases that as well. There are a lot of subscription boxes and different types of international companies now that are coming in with these subscription boxes. But what makes yours unique? Why would I come to you rather than go with one of the ones that we see that Facebook is advertising every day?
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, I think the advantage we might have here, I've also tried out a few of these meal kits boxes that are available right now. Biggest issue I see is that it's still work. You get a meal kit with a bunch of components, you still have to put this meal together, and even that tends to be too much work for for a parent trying to figure all this out. So I think the advantage we're going to have is that this is something that will literally be pulled out of the freezer, put in your oven, taken out, maybe you make a side with it, but the meal is done for you. There's not massive containers kicking around, and I think that's going to be our biggest selling point.
If I could add, there's also...
Insight, there's a lot of parents like mine who cannot use any of those mainstream companies because of our children's allergies. Has this ever been something that you've considered to be more specialized, where you recognize some of the main allergens?
Yeah, I mean, throughout catering, we're always faced with dietary restrictions. Currently we're a kitchen that does contain nuts, but even in our discussions the last couple of weeks, we've discussed maybe getting rid of all of the nut products in the kitchen. Avoiding gluten is pretty easy. We're going to offer vegetarian, vegan items, so that kind of covers your major ones. And the advantage is we're still small, we're still nimble, so if a client wants to subscribe but also tells us, hey, I'm allergic to nightshades, I can't have peppers, I can't have tomatoes in this product, well, we can tweak some stuff. We're still going to treat it somewhere in between the space of mass market production, but with that individual touch.
And my last question is, how scalable is this?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Scalable.
Scalable?
Scalable.
Oh gosh, I mean, we're far, far more scalable than our original catering. The problem with catering is someone calls you and they have a specific need and a specific want for their party. Whereas this, we're talking about having a menu that will build, but it'll be still limited in our capacity. Once we've got recipes done and standardized, this could go national if we wanted to. I could have kitchens everywhere and training programs for people to do this. Who knows, maybe we open up storefronts that only sell our frozen products.
Some questions for these guys.
It's funny because I also own a catering company. I'm a front of the house logistics expert for that company. My husband is the chef, so I understand a lot of what you're going through and the logistics behind it. But I know how these things start. This one person asks you to do a party, and then it grows from word of mouth. So I wonder, as leaders, so during this time, we all know what's happening, even when we're not in the business. So how might you, as leaders, bring in your allies and bring in your clients, people that know you and trust you, to really help you get the word out in a very organic way? So that's how these things start. I mean, I know. One party turns into 2, turns into 3, turns into a huge event. So.
Yeah. Well, that's actually where I think we're well set up because we've got a nice mix of personal as well as corporate clients. We're in with a few different large law firms downtown where we were doing regular drop-off lunches. So that can easily parlay into things being dropped off at home. I mean, if these law firms want their lawyers working 24/7 and don't want them thinking about what's for dinner, maybe the law firm itself signs up 20 of their lawyers for our subscription service and starts that. And then on the personal client base, I'd like to think our clients love us. They tell us they do. And they love our food. So if we can even just come up with some sort of a promotion where, a refer a friend program, half off your first subscription kind of thing, I think that they'll start talking to all their friends. That's how we built our entire business. It was just someone at that party goes to the next party. And we've had a lot of our clients reach out asking if we're doing anything because they just want to support us. So we really have been feeling the love. We want to give it back.
Yeah, and I love that. I know that's how it works in these things. And I think there's something about the both of you together as dads, as leaders, as people concerned with food. There's something about that, that marketing of who you guys are. As leaders, as people, as dads, as business owners, that there's something to leverage in that as well.
Yeah.
We're hoping that we can leverage that a little bit, and not from a feel bad for us kind of side, but we're friendly people. We treat every catering like we're walking into a family or friend's home, and like Matt said, it's all about giving back. We felt a lot of love, so we're hoping that we'll feel it back.
Well, I'm sitting here wondering, first of all, what's your favorite cooking movie?
My favorite cooking movie?
Yeah, there's been movies done
hands
around
down,
chefs or shows.
Ratatouille, yeah.
Which one?
Ratatouille, hands down.
Ratatouille, okay. No,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking, I think there's some incredible synergy between you two. So my clarifying question is, how active are you on social media, especially with video storytelling?
Not as much as we should be, and I think we're going to get more into that. We had built a pretty good following the last year. We really ramped up, and I was proud, we doubled our followers, and we're doing more stories and pictures. I really like our feed, but over the course of this, the last thing on my mind was posting more pictures of food.
Right, so the specific number of YouTube videos, for example, that you've launched this year?
YouTube is nothing. We have no presence there.
Pardon me?
We have no presence on YouTube right now.
So, okay, here, I don't want to get into solution yet or anything like that, but I'm looking, and I'm sure the other panelists agree, I think there's 2 TV stars waiting to be made on social media.